Alright, now that we have the object moving, we have a sound effect playing, let's be sure to set up the next part, which is going to be make it actually hit something inside the scene. So in order to make it hit something in the scene, let's go ahead and go to our code side. So in the code, what we've done before, just a quick recap here, we've made public variables. The first one that we've actually used was the audio shoot. We used this one so that we could actually create a sound when it starts. Then we had a move object inside of our update. Remember, the update is another Unity word. So awake in Unity does this the very first time it actually starts. The update does this as a loop. Update is a loop constantly going to this. So this can hit it anywhere from like 60 times a second. So what we're going to do here inside of the move object is we're actually moving it in a direction. Now we chose Z direction because Z is actually the forward direction of the object. We chose to put our speed on it, which was 5. And then what we had on there was speed was being multiplied though by a time delta time. So the time delta time, this is actually calling up, so you could either call a movement or a variable to constantly be added to something based on a frame, like the frame rate or the time rate. The frame rate could actually vary. If you have a slow machine or a fast machine, you could get more frames per second, which would actually cause the speed to be different based on a computer. So what we're doing is doing a delta time. And this is how long in seconds did it take to complete the last frame. So you're always getting an accurate number here, which provides you an accurate speed or movement no matter what the computer is you're using. Okay, so what we're going to do next, in order to actually say that the object hit something in the scene, we need to be able to check for it. Unity provides a method for this. This is a onTriggerEnt. And it has some properties we can fill out. There's one that it needs to have is a collider. And we'll call our collider other because the collider that's being hit is the other one. So I'm going to add a few extra lines down here just so we can scroll up and we can see this. The onTriggerEnt collider, so when something hits, when this object hits something, the other is going to be the other object being hit. That way we can actually use to test with it, we can send information to it, we can get information from it, and kind of go back and forth with it. So what we want to do though, just to get started with, let's go ahead and add a play. So the moment it hits something, let's play an audio file. So what we have is our audio hit file that we want to play. Well, we know based on like we did before in the awake, we're going to do this get component. And the component what we want to get is the one we added to our object. Remember, we did the audio source. And then what we're going to do is that play one shot again. But this time, instead of doing the audio shoot, we want to do the audio hit. Alright, so now we have this one that the moment this object, the magicOrb, hits in anything, it's going to automatically play the audio hit sound. Okay, and then the next thing we want to do is say, let's say for instance that once we hit it, we want to destroy it, and Unity has a method called destroy, and it takes two properties. You can do one which is what object you want to destroy, and then how long of a delay do you want to wait before you destroy it. Well, we want to say that this game object, so this game object magicOrb is the one we want to destroy. And then we want to say that the length of it, we want to make sure that the audio file that we're playing right here gets played all the way out before the object gets destroyed. If we don't do an audio length, it'll automatically just get destroyed immediately. So let's just say audio hit, and the audio hit, what we have inside of it is a length. Now this length is actually set up for the time. So how long does the audio hit time take? So that's going to be our time we use for the destroy. So once the audio plays all the way through, then the object gets destroyed and goes away. So let's go ahead and push save on this. So Control S, let's go back into Unity here. Now inside of Unity, once it compiles, so our magicOrb right here, when we push play, what we need to do is first make sure it can actually hit something. So we know it moves in that direction. So I'm going to move this right in front of the turret right there. So when we push play, once it goes in, notice it made the sound, but it kept on going. Now it's no longer, let's double check here. Oh, actually it is still in the scene. Let's double check that we have let's make sure we have the trigger state set for it. So in order for this object to actually see this object, we need to do two things. We need to make sure that the sphere collider is trigger, meaning that it can actually receive a trigger event. And then we need to add one component to this. It's going to be the rigid body. So if you go to the add component, and then you can either type in rigid body here, and just like we've done before, you can go to component, you can go down to physics and rigid body there. Once you've added the rigid body to it, you're going to see an option for use gravity. We don't want to use gravity, it'll just make it fall to the ground. We want to just simply have it keep going in that forward direction, but we want to make sure that it can receive information. So we're going to say is kinematic. So with is kinematic on, with is trigger set to enabled, this time when we push play, when it goes through it, it's going to go through, you hear the sound of the actual hitting. The object disappeared from the hierarchy once the sound was done. It got deleted. It's only deleted in play mode, it's not deleted in the edit mode. But it did also go all the way through it. So let's go ahead and push stop. Now the magic orb's back here. We're gonna go back into code here, and this time it goes through, but let's make sure that once it goes through, we don't see it come out the other end. So what that means is we need to add a couple more pieces to it here. Alright, so inside of our on trigger, so instead of just having it destroy and you're still seeing it, let's go ahead and turn off the rendering for it. So we're going to say this get component, and this time we're going to get the component from it called a renderer, and we're going to say enabled equals false. Okay, and then we're going to do another one. We're going to say get component collider, because what we don't want to have happen is the object goes through and still collides with another object. So we're going to actually turn off the collider as well. That way, if it is still going, and we could also do one where we turn off the speed, and we could say speed is now equal to 0 after it moves far enough inside an object. We could do that way as well. But now we have what we're putting into this place now is the render is going to get turned off, collider gets turned off, the game object will get destroyed after the audio finishes playing. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's go back into Unity here. Now inside of Unity, once it gets done compiling, now when we play, now I'm going to push play, but this time I'm going to push the pause button. That way we can step through it and we can actually see the elements happening with it. So let's push play, and then right there, looks like we'll need to turn, let me move it back just a little bit more. We'll set up a dual panel here. I'm just going to drag my game object right there. That way we get two panels right here, so we can do it this way. We'll move it back just a little bit farther. Alright. So you can actually push pause. You can actually step through it by clicking on this button right here. Now what we want to look at is that currently sphere collider is on, the mesh renderer is on, but the moment we come up here and right when it hits, so now that it hit, the sphere collider gets turned off, the mesh renderer now gets turned off from the code based on the triggerEvent event, and then you get the sound playing once we do it all the way through. So we'll do one without stopping it. There you go. So now we have everything hitting right where it's supposed to, audio stopping, and all the elements working for the magic orb to be able to collide into any object and play its files and have things set up for it. Alright, so let's go back to the code here. And so basically, just one more time through, we're getting our components for the render, the audio, and the collider, and we're turning these off. We're playing this one, and then we're using the destroy method and just making sure that this object gets destroyed and plays until doesn't destroy until the audio plays all the way through.